I want to feel your head right now. You are the place my only hope.
Hey everybody, welcome to Play, Rank, Share, the show where I cover the marquee PlayStation 5 titles, create an ever-evolving ranking of the best PlayStation 5 games, and share my opinions with you. My name is Tyrus, and this episode is all about Tales of Arise. Remember to like the video and comment about what your thoughts on Tales of Arise are. I would love to chat with you, and liking the video helps other people find the show. And with that out of the way, let's jump in. I want to get the headline out of the way with Tales of Arise, as it is easily the best JRPG that I have played on the PS5, and when looking at the upcoming slate of games to be released, I don't expect that crown to be taken anytime soon. Tales of Arise respects the origin of the JRPG genre while also updating game mechanics to give it a fresh, more action-oriented appeal. Through my 37 hours with the game, I grew attached to the cast of characters, even though the story overstayed its welcome a little bit. I think too many Japanese role-playing games introduce you to a wide slew of characters that can join your party, giving the player tons of control over what kind of team they want to create. However, I think this design choice then blunts the overall impact of the story and damages the characters that the game creates. You can't flesh out characters well if there are up to 20 in your party, and similarly, they all can't play integral roles in the story. Tales of Arise only has 6 party members that you can rotate between, and I think keeping the cast small helps the story stay grounded, and each character gets to have their memorable moments in the game. Tales of Arise also makes it easy for all of your characters to be useful and impactful in battle, as 4 of your 6 characters are always active, and the 2 party members that aren't still gain experience, so you can swap them in whenever the situation calls for it. Each character also has unique weapons and armor, making you knowingly invest time in each of your character's builds, and not just spinning off your second-rate items to the characters you don't like using as much. You also are granted deep customization of your party during battle, despite the franchise stepping towards a more action RPG style. As characters unlock new abilities over time, you can create a custom set of moves that each party member uses when they're being controlled by AI. Furthermore, while you can only actively control one character during battle, you can freely move between the 6 teammates at any point. I enjoyed that I had the freedom to set up a playstyle that best suited my type of play. For example, there's a tank-type character amongst your party, and I don't enjoy playing that way, but I could still kit her out to make her most useful in battle when the AI was controlling her, and luckily I never needed to take the reins of that character during my playthrough. Where Tales of Arise shines brightest is in the most important component of the game, the battle system. Tales of Arise's RPG mechanics shine in the deep and engaging systems. I never grew tired of battling and enjoyed facing off against different grunt enemies while trying to chain combos together between my party. Seeing your set strategies pay off was always rewarding, and progressing and having certain enemy types go from near impossible to a complete walk in the park was so gratifying. While I think the story started to lag, having high stakes encounters never grew tiresome for me. Fans of RPGs will find solace in the deep action RPG battle mechanics present in this game. But with all the gushing aside, I did have some issues with the story of the game, as I felt like it was taking illogical leaps towards the end. At the start, you embark on your journey with a simple quest, to defeat 5 overbearing lords across the world. However, this premise morphs over time and takes some twists that I didn't enjoy. I find these evolving stories that just increase in complexity, stake, and scope normal for the JRPG genre, but I don't think it's the right storytelling choice. I do think Tales of Arise handles this in a more eloquent way than most. The heart of the story was a criticism of classist economic systems, which I think was a surprisingly poignant choice for a game of this genre, and I enjoyed that the developers had a real-life point to drive home with the story, even if it became a little played out over the 30 hours you'll spend with it. My additional gripes with this game is that graphically it wasn't strong, even if that's to be expected. The game has you encounter a vast amount of different environmental settings with large maps, and it's standard for JRPGs like this to not have impressive graphics. But still, I was surprised how Tales looked more akin to a Switch game to me than a PS5 entry. I did appreciate the wide variety of monsters to encounter and landscapes to explore, but I just wish it was a little prettier. Additionally, on this negative front, the game would barrage you with comic book style cutscenes that don't seem pertinent to the story. I did find some value in these because it helped flesh out your characters and their motivations, but I felt encumbered by the sheer volume of scenes you would have to engage in to see them all. After story cutscenes, for example, it would then be followed by 3 to 4 of these comic book style cutscenes where characters talk about what happened. Luckily, these are optional if it's not your cup of tea, and I appreciate the characterization. I just didn't like how frequently they were deployed. Tales of Arise also has a concerning monetization practice. They entice players to spend a few dollars to enhance their in-game wallets or gain experience faster. This could be great for a player who doesn't have as much free time to game, but brings the question as if the game design was set up to try to force players into buying these enhancements. I grew frustrated as I would encounter bosses that seemingly would jump in level compared to what I had been facing, and it left me wondering if this was by design to try to get me to spend $5 to automatically raise my party by 5 levels. Those of you who have watched a lot of Play Rank Share reviews know that long games don't normally interest me. I find that they have a lot of unnecessary content to pad out the length, diminishing my overall experience. Tales of Arise doesn't do this perfectly, but compared to most JRPGs, I find that it respected my time well enough. The combat system is engagingly deep, letting you tweak down to the attacks that your computer-controlled partners use. The story does drag towards the end, but any JRPG fan itching for a new experience in the next generation can't go wrong with Tales of Arise. Overall, I think Tales of Arise is a great game, and I give it a score of 8 out of 10. When it comes to ranking Tales of Arise amongst the best PlayStation 5 games, I'm drawn to how the game was able to create a fun cast of characters over the entirety of the campaign. While I grew tired of the story, it wasn't because of the charming motley crew that accompanied me on my journey. But Tales does have a great and complex gameplay loop that made me more than okay going through countless grunt encounters to level up my team. Overall, I decided to rank Tales of Arise at number 15 on the list of best PlayStation 5 games, putting it below Life is Strange True Colors and above Hitman 3. This ranks Tales of Arise as the highest Bandai Namco published game on the list. Make sure to check out the comments below to see the full list of best PlayStation 5 games, as we are now nearing 40 entries. Thank you for watching this episode of Play, Rank, Share. Even more reviews for PRS are on the way since so many games are coming out in February. The next review will likely be Sifu, followed by Dying Light 2 and Horizon Forbidden West. What are your thoughts on Tales of Arise? Make sure to leave a comment below, and until next time, don't stop sharing.